Hi, it's Paul Seals. I've got with me Benny Hall. Benny, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, you've had a long. I'm going to run through your introduction here just quickly, and then we'll talk about your background, how you got started, and also your involvement with Ethland, etc. So just your introduction. So Benny graduated with a Bachelor of Technology, majoring in Information Systems and Systems Analysis, and works on large-scale, 100 billion plus digital transformation projects. A keen technologist and is extremely passionate about innovation, contributing to Google Glass and machine learning application projects. This includes having worked previously with Macquarie Private Health, early in his career developing financial trading tools. It was in this interest in technology that lured him towards blockchain and distributed ledger technology, soon realizing its ability to improve business processes, human interactions, and the opportunity for individuals to large-scale enterprises. He was hooked. Benny continues to push towards mass adoption, speaking at conferences and providing educational content through his YouTube channel, Crypto Catch Up, and Facebook groups with over 10,000 members, etc. So Benny is also an Australian ambassador to Ethland, a peer-to-peer decentralized lending platform based on Ethereum, where hopefully in the city near you, we talk about the benefits of such a platform. So welcome, Benny.
Thank you. I'll just clarify, there was $1 billion projects, not $100 billion projects.
Okay. 100.
Somebody might come looking for me.
What's a couple of zeros?
Yeah, nothing in this market.
So 1 billion plus projects. So thanks for joining. So a little bit more about your back. Tell us a little bit more about your background, Benny, and how did you become to work in IT and then you transitioned into crypto?
Yeah, so I originally started my degree in law and psychology and just got extremely bored of it. So I found IT. I used to enjoy building computers as a kid, and then now we've come a long way. And I work currently in the federal government, working on large projects, doing systems analysis. So looking at the IT side of things and seeing how we can help, I guess, the country as a whole, really. And then I was fortunate enough, as we've had a conversation in the past, where a gentleman I worked with made it big in the cryptosphere. And because of that, it really got me thinking. I started to have a look at what's going on, and I was like, wow, this is actually revolutionary. This is challenging paradigms. So I really just got reading, and here I am today trying to, make for a better world in this decentralized, economy.
Yeah, great. And it certainly is that, isn't it? I'm inspired and excited by the possibilities that are created particularly through decentralization and privacy.
Yeah, 100%. It's giving a whole new meaning to our personal data and to our business process and what we can do ourselves as individuals and as human beings. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Yeah,
great. So what was your first experience and foray into cryptocurrency? What did you buy? Where did you get started?
So getting into crypto, like I said, after I saw this gentleman make a ton of money, and I think that's what a lot of people got into crypto for in the first place was, this free money that you supposedly can make. You just open up your wallet and money falls out.
Magically
That's right. One of the first projects I actually bought into was Verge when it was 0.000 something.
Yeah.
Now, if I actually held on to that, I'd be a millionaire now because I had over 1 million of them. So ever since then, I've accumulated a bunch. I probably hold 20 plus currencies at the moment. I'm not so much of a day trader or a swing trader. I do fundamental kind of analysis, and I hold on to them and buy them sparingly in between. Yeah,
that's great. So you've come on board as an ambassador for Ethland. So I'm a bit of a fanboy of Ethland as well, and particularly Ethereum. But watch the wave. It's interesting. So we're at the end of April now, and I think its peak and reached about 40 something cents, and I'm looking at now it's around about 7.5. So it's on its way.
That's it.
Yeah,
I think it topped out at 38 US cents. So
right. Okay. So tell us about what took you to Ethland, and then let's talk a little bit more about Ethland, what Ethland's about.
So based on that whole idea of decentralization, I'm very passionate about, the unbanked community, people in sub-Sahara Africa, in even in Asia and all over, Middle East and places like that, which simply don't have bank accounts. And now that's not because they're not, decent human beings that don't deserve it. It's because, war, because of other economic factors. And because of that, individuals don't have the ability to go out there, for example, like you and I, to get a bank account for one, but then possibly to start a business, to move to another town. And they might need some form of funding for that. And ETHLend provides that. It is the most decentralized peer-to-peer lending platform that is out there to date. There are others that base themselves in the lending space and global markets, but they require you to have know your customer. They require you to sign up or pay a membership fee or something like that. ETHLend does not. So that's what drew me to them. And once the opportunity arose where, they were looking for an ambassador initially just to start for each country. So there's just one in Australia at the moment, me.
Yeah.
And we're going to start building that out. So the plan is for their company is to not only have one here, but, possibly multiple through every state. Australia's a big country. And we're just going to build on that as we go and really share the benefits of the platform.
Okay. And what's the role and responsibility of ambassadors for ETHLend?
So currently my role is going to be getting the word out there effectively. So in Brisbane, I'm going to be running a meetup sometime next month out of River City Labs. That will be my initial kind of point of contact. And then from there, I'll look to expand, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, and then, Sydney, Melbourne, and try those sorts of places as we get more traction, I should say, with ETHLend as a whole, because this is a new program for them. So we need to play by their rules and how they would like to, position their branding in other countries. And they've certainly got a lot of things going on. So at the moment, it's keeping it local and building a strong community. We have that here in Brisbane, Australia. So we just got to build on that slowly.
Yeah. So some of the guys came through recently in January from ETHLend.
They did.
Yeah, and we got to catch up with them and had them speak at some of our meetings in Brisbane. But can you give us a bit of an overview about how, obviously it's early stage as far as peer-to-peer lending in the crypto scene is concerned. Everyone's just like holding the hell out of everything they've got at the moment. But I don't think they've got the ability to be able to lend out. So how does that work? How does the platform work as far as... So people have got some Ethereum, some ETH, and they have the ability. So people put forward, they request loans, or people can submit their Ethereum to free up some capital.
Yeah, that's it. So like you just said, everyone's holding on to everything because they're so afraid of the market. Well, what you could actually be doing is using over 130 different ERC20 tokens. So it's 130 as of recently. So whether that be put up, Ethereum, you put up Lend, and there is benefits to using their own utility token in Lend in terms of discounted fees, etc. But you effectively can put up the 130 tokens that you may have. So you don't want to sell it because you don't want to lose your position. You might have 1,000 of them, but you can actually lend out those 1,000 to somebody else, and in turn earn a premium back on that loan over whatever the loan term is. So for example, if I was somebody looking to borrow something, you go onto the DApp or the decentralized application, you set the terms effectively. You say, how long you want it for, what particular premium you want to pay, and you have to collateralize that as a borrower. So if I was to borrow money, the loan to value ratio currently is 67%. So you can only borrow 67% of the collateral. So if you put up $100, you can only take 67, as a collateral back. Currently it's crypto to crypto only, but they have just started the process to do crypto to fiat as well. So you can put up crypto and actually, be given back US dollar. So you can go and buy something else. You can go and leverage that against another trade. You can short sell. You can do a range of activities with this platform.
That's exciting because in effect that people, if they need to free up capital, they can still keep their crypto without having to sell it off to liquidate it.
Exactly right. You hold your position and in effect you're getting that premium. So if you're a long-term holder, you could be earning 10% premium over a 90-day period or something. If the token's going up during that time as well, happy days. You get that back.
Yeah. I'm just going to get you a comment on this as well, Benny. I know you're not responsible for it, but as an ETHLend ambassador, you'll probably get this question a few times or in relation to it, because it's, say the market capitalization's dropped down from 800 million to $400 billion. And like we said, the price previously was around about late 30s or maybe nearly 40 cents US. So what are the external factors on the project besides the market capitalization that affects a price value to fluctuate like that, like a minus 8x or something?
So for them individually, like they have done as a project nothing wrong in I think they've met all their development goals. Currently, they've actually exceeded those goals exponentially by offering a huge range of benefits, and they're well ahead of their roadmap. I would literally attribute it to the fact that we went through quite a bear cycle as per any market or coin that you've seen to date. If you go look at them, they've also followed a very similar trend. Because if you look at, like I said, the development goals that the team has delivered recently, it really is spot on. They're doing a lot of work in that space. They're delivering a good user experience. So I definitely wouldn't attribute it to the team or anything like that. I would put it down to practically market sentiment and, the amount of FUD that we've had across the board from, China to every other country that wanted to get in on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anything else that you want to share with us around ETHLend before we start talking a little bit further about the market, etc.?
I think it's if you were sitting back, like you said, and you weren't sure of what lending actually meant, is that it's two-sided. So you can have your borrower, you can borrow money, and you can lend money. So if you are wanting to earn a little bit of extra money while you're sitting there on your pile of crypto, have a look at the platform. If not, get in touch with me, whether it be via your, crypto masterminds or Block Conscious, or jump onto me on Twitter or any other channels that I have. We can have a chat about it, and that'd be good. Yeah.
We were having a conference earlier in the year talking about ETHLend getting involved in conversation with some of the people, including Anastasia and like Stani, the founder. Is it Stani? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading a quote by his, and it said at one point there were 25 people working for us with no salary. So it goes to show the amount of depth of commitment to the project that people have had.
Exactly right. They do have a very young team, but they're like you've said, they're a very dedicated team, and they're all entrepreneurs, and they're wanting to do it, and they're doing great things at the moment. They have hit a few milestones, which I like.
Yeah, that's great. So let's move on and talk about the market really quickly. And you've spoken at a couple of our events, very knowledgeable, and just wanted to get a feel for where you're at. So we're at the end of April 2018. We've sort of we've come out of the high in January, and we've sort of been running and trailing along the bottom at the moment. What's your projection? What's your anticipation and what's your perception of the market for the next 6 months in 2018?
Like you said, we had a painful beginning to the year, but if we extract it back and take away all the rubbish that goes along with it, yes, it is a very volatile market, but like you said earlier, we're about to crack 400 billion again. We're doing $22 billion in trading today alone. And you're seeing a fairly positive sentiment coming out, whether it be from G20 or various other organizations, whether they actually be using cryptocurrency. The fact that they're starting to use blockchain or distributed ledger technology starts to get people, everyday consumers, interested in the market again. Of course, once we see a little bit of green again, everyone starts coming out of the woods. I've noticed on a couple of our pages, everyone's posting again. They're a lot more talkative. It'd be a good time to have an event again. But over the next 6 months, if you look at any of the other market cycles that we've had over the last 4 or 5 years in terms of cryptocurrencies, you start to see that ramp up period. You start to see that consolidation again after what some may attribute to US tax time or things like that. Whether we start to see that, really bullish run and start seeing exorbitant figures, I don't think so. I think, like we said, we're consolidating again. People are gaining their trust back in that process. We're starting to see platforms offer a better user experience. And because of that, we're winning hearts and minds. But I don't think the theory, the greater fool's theory is at play, whereby, you know, people are jumping in willing to pay more or hoping other people are going to pay more than them. It's much more leveled in the, I guess, the way we're moving forward right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you committed as an ETHLend ambassador. You're in a position to be able to comment on any other projects. Like, what's your favourites in your portfolio? What are you looking at? What are you excited about? What other projects are you inspired by?
Yeah, so I've made it clear to ETHLend that I, speak at conferences with yourself and otherwise. As a part of my agreement with them, I will not discuss any other lending platforms because that, makes sense. But I'm still going to go about doing my YouTube reviews. I've done one tonight that I'll be posting straight after this, call, in terms of Fetch.ai. It's an autonomous artificial intelligence and machine learning platform. And it's very interesting because it's wild in terms of the dreams and hopes of these people is just blows me away. And if they achieve what they're achieving, good on them. Yeah. I think though, if you have a look at some of the projects that I've done recently, OneLedger is certainly going to be a very big project. They have a great, team and product.
Okay.
Quark, NKN.
Sorry, OneLedger, where are they based, Benny? Where are they based?
It's going to be, I don't even remember actually, but I did a video on them on my channel, but it was a very interesting protocol whereby they were saying that they're going to allow interoperability between a range of projects or businesses and not worrying about, having to send money from Bitcoin to Litecoin or otherwise. And taking it back to more of a modular layer to allow that, interoperability, which is extremely needed in the space that we're in at the moment, because everyone's creating their own projects and they're all, great projects apart from the scams, of course, but they don't talk to each other. And if they don't talk to each other, this decentralized world is no good. We need the decentralized world to talk within the decentralized world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even some of the scams have got great marketing, Benny.
Oh, mate, they do. Fiverr, if you jump on there, you can get a white paper created for a couple of $100.
Wow.
But if you're like me and you read it, I will tear you to bits. I don't like putting negative stuff up online, but if I think you're a blatant scam and you're trying to rip people off, I will call you out on that any day of the week. It's unfair, and that's not what these people are here to do. We're here to create something better for people in this world. So don't go ripping people off in the meantime. That's going to make people like me upset. Yeah, yeah. That's good.
It's great as well. There's a huge amount of intellectual property coming out of the space in Brisbane, sleepy little Brisbane, that for information, people that have knowledge about blockchain and projects that are coming out of blockchain at the moment. So it's an exciting time.
It is indeed.
I'm really quite optimistic about the next 6 months. I think it's sort of been bouncing along the bottom a little bit for a while, and I think it's going to do exciting things from May onwards. A lot of people are saying that maybe the Consensus conference in the States in May. Is it Consensus in May?
Yeah. It's Consensus going on.
Yeah, they're holding back announcements for that project, and that'll spur the market on from there. But it'll be an interesting time anyway.
Well, especially if, like I said, with Bitcoin Lightning Network going live, Ethereum with proof of stake in their Casper later on this year, or Plasma, if things like that get up, like big projects that we all know and love in terms of Ethereum, more commonly, you will see a market move that will rival everything. And if Ethereum goes, all of the ERC20 tokens are going to go with it. So that's what we can hope.
Can I just clarify on that, Benny, as well? So ETHLend is not only Ethereum-based lending, it's any ERC20 token lending. Is that correct?
So currently it's 130 ERC20 tokens. There's more than that out there. But what they look for is that they look for a token that is has a long-standing history, but also has lower price volatility. And the reason for that is because if I put up a collateral for a loan and its price tanks the next day, well, then me as a lender could lose out big time. And that's when you have to do what they call a collateral call and go, well, wait a minute, the loan to value ratio is not in my favor anymore as a lender. I should get out of this, because we're talking a trustless relationship. So they look for tokens like that, but they are actually just Ethereum at the moment. As a part of Q2 of 2018 or possibly Q3, they're looking at lending via Bitcoin platform as well. They're just finding the best way to achieve that at the moment because they're looking at AI and how they can do a range of what they call gamified credit profiles. So if you don't have collateral, you can do a loan without any collateral up front, but you would do it with someone with a gamified profile, which practically says if you've done a loan before and it was successful and you paid on time, you get a little badge. And then if you do that a couple of times, you get more badges. And that just builds up that credit profile for somebody who might not have something to begin with, like I said, in Africa or otherwise. So start small, get bigger.
That's it. And that whole market opening up as well because of the fact that people will be able to buy smartphones now for about $8.
Exactly. Because in Africa, like people have mobile phones. They just don't have bank accounts. They probably have 2 mobile phones.
The other thing I want to mention to you as well in closing before we go as well, I don't know whether you saw the article that came out, was either yesterday or today, about the $99 million worth of Litecoin got transferred, took about 2.5 minutes and cost about 40 cents for that transaction. Do you want to comment about that?
I did. I saw it this morning actually by a gentleman by the name of Philip Nunn, who's an ICO advisor, quite a big one in the world. And it just really goes to show how far advanced this technology is. It's undeniable how efficient it is. And I saw people commenting going, I would say old school businessmen commenting going, what the consumer had to pay, 40 cents. And you're like, wait a minute, mate, because if it was a business, they would have paid throughout the multiple hops that it took for that to get there in the first place, and more people would have lost out. So for that to be a peer-to-peer for 40 cents is nothing, because that could have been a financial institution to another financial institution for 40 cents. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy with that.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I think the numbers on running international transfers, from my experience, I don't know whether it's dropped since, but for about per $10,000, you're looking at about $300,000. $300 to send 10,000.
Yeah, exactly. I think the last speech I did at the Brisbane Blockchain Conference, some of the stats were, it's 40 billion plus in fees a year for remittance across the globe. $40 billion to send money around for what? That's wasted money.
Yeah,
it's somebody's pocket that I would prefer to be in mine.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thanks for your time with us anyway, Benny.
No worries, Paul.
And thank you for your contribution. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your knowledge, and look forward to seeing you at some more events and conferences in the future.
We'll catch up soon. Cheers, mate.
Okay. Thanks, Benny. Cheers.